All right, don't know what the rest of them were talking about on the couch, but I don't care because I've got someone important with me. It's Dapr from Sentinels, coming off first ever loss at LAN, and also the first ever team that's managed to even take maps off you as well. Didn't get an opportunity to speak to you when it came to the previous game against G2, but as back-to-back Icebox losses. Dapr, first of all, just checking in. I mean, that was a seeding game as well, but I want to gauge a little bit of the kind of seriousness and the like investment that you had on an emotional level to winning that game. Because Shaz, in a post-game interview when you were playing against G2 previously, said that he was a bit pissed that you dropped Icebox the first time around. I think there was some, like, you know, pride on the line in terms of keeping that perfect record that you'd had going from Reykjavik. So what was the team mentality heading into this game, which is a bit weird because of the whole group system?
I mean, it was split up because, you know, like Shaz, he's a really good IGL, and, you know, he wants to try really hard every game, but sometimes it's like you look at the seeding and it's like, oh, we could play 2 NA teams or Vision Strikers, or try our luck with like any of the European teams. So like once I see those types of things, and it's like, oh well, I literally prefer second seed. When I get into that game, it's just like, oh, like, who even cares if we win? And then there's also like, we have to play this match and then F4Q again. So we have to show so much more stuff. So like, we're just doing the same things, and they counter stratted because they really want to beat us just to prove a point. So there's like it's like a perfect storm for them to just like do really well against us. And like, I was literally made an argument, like, why would we even play bind? Like, we haven't played bind this event. Like, why would we want to win and just like even show a map? So it definitely plays a part, but.
So yeah. Are you saying that you were considering even like banning bind rather than banning Ascent just so that you wouldn't show an extra map in that scenario? Or are you saying that you were just perfectly happy to lose a 2-0 because it's an advantage to not have to show the third? How many White Claws in are we going on a scale of 1 to 0 here? Oh, a scale of 1 to 10.
In Germany, it's Pilsners here, but they don't have White Claws here. It's Pilsners, but yeah. It just sucks to be in this situation, in my opinion. You know, we're playing for nothing. We're playing for first or second seed, but we're also like one of the latest groups to play out. So we know who's first, second seed out of most groups, or like can assume. So just a really weird situation. And it just sucks that we have, obviously we're held to high regard. We're the reigning champions. We also haven't dropped the series yet. So I guess it's a slap of realism that we could lose, you know, like maybe for our fans.
Sure.
I'm a realist person. I know we could always lose. That's why we play so much, and like, we could lose any day. So that's why we try so hard. But yeah, at the end of the day, this series doesn't really hurt me that much. We could just talk about how they abused our Icebox and what we could do on split, you know, and we're either like with getting info withheld from us, or on attack, like what we could do better. And yeah, this is not a big deal to me.
Okay, well, let's talk about the Icebox losses then, because this is not just a one-off. They beat the last time around as well, trying, from what I could tell, some relatively similar things too. Zom's got isolated a lot this time around, and Nuki was still playing in his really safe positions at the back of A, the kind of belt area, just absorbing aggression. Was your game plan in this to try and make adjustments to ensure that you kind of counter-stratted what had failed for you before, or are those getting logged in the brain for future games?
Like I said, we actually did have a really good, obviously we played them, so we had a really good idea on how they play their attack, and I think we actually had really good reads against them, believe it or not. I actually think we just played like scared. I was going to say another word, but I think we played really scared on our seat defense, and it came down to we gave them almost everything for free. Like at B, I think Zom played a little too scared, and I think at A, we just couldn't take the full hit when they don't have to commit anything to get B. I feel like that was like a really big part of why we failed. Also, they're pretty good at being annoying at mid, so we have to, you know, use a lot of utility to either like get mid info or kill the person. And yeah, so we're pretty spread thin throughout the whole map. I think they used it pretty well. But at the end of the day, I genuinely believe we have good reactions on what we need to do. But we're in that situation where it's like, I don't even want to like kind of open my mouth, because if we do it now, then other teams will see it when we play them later that we already know we're already out. So it's again, we're in a very unique situation where it hurts us to like try to win, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I will never say I tossed that game. Like I tried my heart out, but it just sucks when you have to think about stuff like that, you know, in the moment.
Yeah, no, I understand as well. I think a lot of people don't quite get that there is nuance and gray area between throwing every possible strat in there and like doing jumping 360s and teabagging people, right? There's like a middle ground where you are still trying to win every single scenario, every single aim duel, but you don't quite want to come that reaction that some other team might pick up on. That's more of what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's more of a reactions, because if other teams see how you react to like, oh, this is how they fight a slow A default or like just a slow default in general. Okay, they like to push down this, and they play 3 here when, you know, it'll only hurt us in the long run. So it's hard to just do it.
Now, Split. Let's move on to that map, because that was an area that I thought if G2 had a chance in this game, yeah, they had to win on Icebox, and they'd manage that. But I also thought they probably had to go to map 3. You know, their bind is looking relatively decent. Split, it's not really a map that they play too often. And you trounced them on it last time. It was 12-6, but it felt like a 30... sorry, it was 13-6. But it felt like almost a 13-0. They had no chances of being able to get into that game, and you guys looked incredibly clean. They made a compositional adjustment. They also clearly made some adjustments in terms of where they were placing utility and how they were playing the map. Are those kind of things what threw you off? Did you feel like G2 had made the right counter strats to be able to read your style of playing Split?
Yeah, I was actually a fan of how they did it. I think, quote me if I'm wrong, I think they had Kellogg's on Jet and somebody else on Sky, and then now they had Reyna and Raze and Kellogg's on Sage. I'm pretty sure that was this agent swap. But I actually thought their last comp was better, and we knew like going in, loading in, it was like, oh, they're kind of desperate. Like they changed like all these duelists around, and I was like, okay, well, I guess like they're just gonna fight us. And yeah, they just kind of took the fight to us, and I think it caught us off guard early, and I think we got the hang of it like later in the half. But I think we gave it too many rounds. Like I don't know exactly how it's hard. I think it was like 5-0, 6-0 down, and just like a slow start like that was really tough. So yeah, Split was tough. I think our CT side felt a lot better. Like we got to like 8-8 or 8-9 or something. We got really close, and we started throwing like stupid rounds. Zoms was coming up huge with clutches. I won that 1v1 to like save the game or whatever it was. But yeah, it was a lot of individual mistakes that game. I wouldn't have been that mad if we lost. Like, obviously, I'm not that mad that we lost in general, but that I was kind of salty about that loss just because I felt like it was such a throw, like an unorganized throw. So that made me feel a little bad, but yeah.
I've got a few questions for you here just about comparing Berlin to Reykjavik. And I know that this is really difficult because the game has changed, the quality of the teams has changed, all of that kind of stuff as well. But the first question I want to ask you is, your current performances that you've had so far, how do you feel they compared to the form you entered Reykjavik with, like relative to the competition?
Relative to the composition or competition?
The competition, yeah.
Well, I genuinely feel like I've been playing it so bad this event, and during the G2 loss, I literally just like kept telling to my team that like if I played with thumbs on Icebox, we would have won. You know, like I felt like I played so bad. I was like giving excuses to my team, like whatever. And I feel like today I played a little better. I was like just deathmatching and, you know, trying to play the game more. It's hard to like control form 24/7. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Like sometimes it just goes on and off. Like it's like one of those things where I guess this is what being a competitor is. I don't necessarily feel like I'm playing terribly. I just feel like every duel I get is either a pretty bad duel from like a positioning standpoint or like how the round's breaking down, or they're just like hitting my side with 5 ults, you know, and not really letting me get anything. So it's just like a feel bad moment, but I think I could step it up for when it matters.
Okay, another question here comparing Reykjavik to Berlin. I know that these are unfair questions. I want to ask you, I asked Tens the same thing. Do you think this version of G2 is better than the Fnatic that you played against in the finals last time? Obviously, Fnatic weren't able to get there this time around. Do you feel like the EMEA teams have leveled up? We've seen very variable performances from EMEA in general, but if we keep it exclusive to G2, this G2 team that took a map off you and then another 2 to win the match, do you feel like they were better than Fnatic were at Reykjavik?
Maybe on like form wise, but I don't think anything they're doing is groundbreaking. Like I feel like when I played Fnatic, they did a whole bunch of new and creative stuff, and I never got that vibe from G2. They just kind of played slow on the attack, and we just kind of fell into their traps. But it's like one of those things that I feel like we could go around and adjusting, and it'll help us a lot. Like at least on Icebox, other maps, it's kind of like the same story, but I think our reactions have to be different. But if I had to give you like a clean, cold answer, I don't think they're that much better now.
Okay, and now another, again, unfair question, Dapper, that I'm throwing at you here, which is
good,
when I was talking to when I was talking to Tens, and then when Shaz was doing his post-match interview, they were saying they were bigging up Gambit. They were talking about how good they looked in scrims. How Tens was saying they expected if they played like they did in scrims that they would 13-0 100 Thieves. We all saw how that match went with them going up massively, and it went majorly in the other direction the second time around. Those are the kind of teams now that you're going to be avoiding. Do you feel like that's an advantage for you? Do you still have the same respect for teams like Gambit that haven't actually shown up in matches but have done in scrims? Because I saw Zom's tweet saying we'd rather have this seeding because we play the NA teams we're comfortable with. We avoid the potentially crazy EMEA teams from scrim results. How do you like match what you've seen in scrims to what you've seen in matches and think about your opponents heading into the playoffs?
Well, obviously, yeah, you could look at like past results, like Gambit choking against Under Thieves, but you could also and be like, confident going against them if you do draw into them. But it could also just be a thing like this might be the time that they just don't choke and they're just a way better team, So it's always two ways to look at it. Obviously, they never proved that they could close games out, especially when the importance is on, land quarterfinals, not double elim. They could just lose out. But I would always go with my comfort. Like we've always beat 100 Thieves. We're confident against Envy. I'm always down to play them. And Vision Strikers, I like how they play, but I also think like we match up pretty well against it. We did in scrims before. And the other team we're not. Or the other team's us. What am I saying?
Yeah, but, you have three potential opponents there. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, like all those teams, I'm pretty comfortable drawing into. And on the other side, it's like Ascend. They seem to play like us, so I feel like that would just be like an on the day type of game where like if we're owning or they're owning, it'd probably just swing either way. Gambit, I think are really strong. Like they beat us in scrims like pretty handily. And who would be the last? It was like Crew or Vivo or something. Yeah. So, and obviously that would be like the best draw for us, but I'm like banking for like a 33% chance of getting that team, So sure, I don't mind how this all worked out, to be honest.
Okay, well, it's set up for an exciting tournament, Dapper. I appreciate you, you and the rest of the team making it exciting for the fans. That's exactly what everyone was looking for. And then when Sentinels makes the crazy run back, that's just everything that North American has seen before. That's what the NA fans expect from you guys.
It's nothing new, man. We'll just have a good day where we get pushed to our edge. We're forced to be in form, and if we hit it, we're just fucking smooth sailing, and we just gotta hope we hit it.
Yep. Well, good luck in all of your future matches as well. I think a lot of people are looking forward to some of these insane matches that will happen in the playoffs.
Thank you, bro. It's gonna be a good tournament, I promise you.
Yeah. All right. See you later, man. Good luck.
See you, man.